Should I confess my feelings for someone who is already in a relationship? What if this person is actually speaking about me?
I've seen a couple of friends and clients
Yes.
be together for years and then break up because of this reason. It's just, like you said, not a solvable problem.
But are you 100% sure that your current partner is your lifelong partner?
We're also getting married in like a week,
Yeah.
2 weeks.
So it'd probably be a great conversation to have.
Let's find out.
Let's find out right here, right now. Okay, let's do this. We are here, getting intimate with Matt and Kelly.
I'm so excited to get intimate.
Yes, episode, not that way, but episode number 5. We have gone for a much more chiller vibe, as you can see if you're watching on YouTube, listening on the podcast. Just to give you an idea, we are in bed with 2 fur balls, also known as cats, and we are going to be answering your questions today. Are you excited?
I feel so excited. I love this format. I love getting to sit in bed with our cat
Yes.
and just invite you guys. So the intention really was just to invite you guys into our normal life in a way. Like, this is so much of what we just talked about when we're actually sitting in bed hanging out.
Yes.
And so, yeah, I wanted to invite you guys in on our more intimate conversations.
Yeah. So let's get into it. So we have some questions. If you aren't already following us on Instagram, make sure you do. We'll put our handles right here. And every single week or every single week to 2 weeks, we're going to be asking for your questions and then answering them. So make sure you're following us there, so you check out Instagram story for when we do that. So the very first question, should I confess my feelings for someone who is already in a relationship? It's so hard. I don't think you should. I don't think it's a great idea.
Oh, you don't think you should? Oh, I thought you...
No, I think you should not.
I thought you meant like, okay, that's your perspective.
Yeah.
You don't think you should...
What if this person is actually speaking about me? They're wondering. I don't think that it's a great idea.
Yeah, because it feels like even if you did confess your feelings and then they felt the same way, it would just be such a messy start to a relationship.
Yes.
Just not ideal in any way.
Yes.
And then could possibly, just create chaos and drama and...
And know that there are billions of people out on Earth. And let's say out of those billion, there's thousands or hundreds of people who are a great match for you. I don't think it's great that out of the all-you-can-eat buffet of amazing people who are single, ready to date you, to be like, that one, the one who's taken. Don't do that.
Right, especially if it's a pattern for you.
Next question.
Next question. How to find healthy masculine in real life? I love this question. This is something we coach and teach about a lot, isn't
Yes.
it? So, healthy masculine in real life. I actually took a little bit of notes here that I want to read because I think that I could sum it up in 3, and I'm curious what you have to say about this. But to me, a healthy masculine man would be grounded in his energy and his way of being. He'd be growth-minded, whatever that looks like to him. That could look a lot of different ways. And then finally, he'd be kind. He'd have a gentle spirit and a kindness. And to me, I think that kind of sums up the energy of a healthy masculine. What do you think?
I like that. And I would also, especially that last part, the kind, and I break it down to, I think how you know you can trust someone and whether someone is in the healthy masculine or in the healthy feminine, it's the same thing. I just did a guest training on one of my friends' group programs, and I was speaking about this. I said the healthy masculine, or someone who is in the healthy masculine, they're leading the relationship. There's 4 aspects that they're embodying. 1 is that they care, which is also being kind. Right? They care about who it is that you are. Also known as they have your best interest in mind. That's not, I win and then you lose. You just do exactly what I say. I'm leading the relationship. It's like, I'm going to take your best interest in mind, so I'm going to make a decision from that standpoint that it's not just about me, it's us. So care. And then also, they're competent. So competent, there's many different nuances to this, but are they competent as a partner? Are they able to listen? Are they able to communicate? Are they able to self-regulate, co-regulate? Are they able to take care of you in a relationship? And then there's also consistency, which is a big one, right? You want a man who is consistent and a man who is reliable. So those 4 things, I believe, is very important to embodying the healthy masculine. And there's how do you meet someone, which is more practical, and there's how do you attract someone. So I think from an energetic standpoint, how do you attract someone is, who do I get to embody? What do I get to let go of for it to be normal for someone who is in the healthy masculine to show up in my life? And then there's a practicality of it all, which is how do you meet someone in person? And this is where we start to go into how do you create openings. It's healthy masculine. People who are in the healthy masculine don't just hang out in one spot. They're everywhere. They're at the post office, they're at the coffee shop, they're at the gym. There's many different places that you can meet someone who is in a healthy masculine, and also with online dating. So I think it's more about knowing what to look out for, so you can be discerning for all the types of men that you're going to attract. Because even if you are in your healthy feminine, you're still going to attract people and men who aren't healthy. So it's all about, I believe, being discerning to know, out of this pool of men that I attract, who are the ones who are healthy and who are not. So you have some 3 guidelines from Kelly, and then 4 from me, to know, to be discerning about what to look out for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and one thing I want to add to that is, learning how to be in your healthy feminine is so huge. And then also healing your relationship with men. Yeah. Because you can't spot a healthy masculine man if you're continually attracted to men who are chaotic, unkind, who are domineering, and yeah. So those 2 things I would add to the list as well.
10 out of 10. Okay, so the next question is, I've got the masculine energy and my husband the feminine. How can it be changed? What would you say to that? I've got the masculine energy and my husband the feminine. How can it be changed?
Okay. So, I think that masculine and feminine energy, if we could imagine them as 2 muscles that we have. So oftentimes there are a lot of women who have worked the muscle of the masculine energy a lot in their life. Like, they're really strong in their masculine energy, their ability to get stuff done and be logical and make decisions and lead. And then they get into a relationship, and inevitably they'll attract someone who's stronger in their feminine, because that's polarity. I think polarity always happens, even if it's in the type of dynamic you don't want, right? Where you're in your masculine and he's in his feminine. So what I would recommend is to start working that muscle of your feminine energy. You know, and it's not just as arbitrary as 2 muscles, because it's also that most people have an essence where they're more feminine essenced in their nature, right? Not in what they've practiced in kind of the muscles, but in their nature, right? Most women have a feminine essence. Most men have a masculine essence. But then, of course, there's some people who are the opposite. So anyways, I'm going to guess you have a feminine essence, but you have worked that muscle of the masculine. And now it's just working the muscle of the feminine and peeling back the layers of, I'll just guess here, but hyper independence, being controlling, leading in your relationship, not trusting your partner, whatever it is for you. Those are just some common ones. And then as you soften into your feminine energy, you make space for him to step up into his masculine.
I think that's a beautiful answer. Yeah, because the illusion is I have to do something to get into my feminine, or for men, it's I have to do something to get into my masculine. And I would say that you're already there. That is your essence, as Kelly is sharing, and there are just things that are in the way. There are things that take you out of it. So that's the work. We've worked with so many women now, and I'm sure if you're listening, if you're a woman, there's been a man that maybe you've dated, where his way of being, him being so grounded and sure, and he just him being in his masculine, more of your feminine was able to come out and blossom because of his way of being. And I'm sure you've had the opposite, where there was something about a man's way of being where he was unsure and he wasn't in his masculine, and because of that, your feminine energy was diminished because of his way of being. So we are constantly affecting or infecting each other, right? Not just from an energetic standpoint, but from an energetic standpoint for this answer. So just like a man's way of being can influence your feminine can absolutely inspire a man's masculine to come out, or for his masculine energy to be diminished based on what Kayla was just sharing, criticizing. There's so many things that a woman can do that can emasculate a man. And that's what we would say. Start to look at what are your ways of being that possibly could be diminishing his masculine energy. And know that we have a membership You can, for $7 right now it is. Maybe it's different in the future. But right now, we'll leave a link down below. If you're watching the podcast, just go to www.mattandkelly.co/womanhood. And Kelly has so many trainings on how you can tap even more into your feminine energy. So check that out.
Yeah, and I love all that you said. And, you know, polarity is such a dance. You know, it's like partner dance, like doing a tango or the salsa, right? Where one person holds a certain role and the other one holds the opposite, and they go with each other and they do impact each other. And but the beautiful thing is, what I want to speak to around that is also, you can connect with your feminine energy no matter what your partner is doing. Yeah, what your partner is doing can help and hurt it, but ultimately it is up to you. And one person can switch the polarity. One person can change the dynamic. Depending on how deep you guys are kind of locked in the other dynamic, there might be work for the two of you, but you can start, you know, because you want this change, and womanhood is a great place to start that journey.
Okay, we are going to go into the next question now. So,
hey, I feel excited about this one. How did Matt go from being resistant to kids to now excited? Now, before you answer that question, I want to share that recently I made a couple reels, and a lot of it went really viral about how at one point you weren't sure if you wanted kids in our relationship, and what I did in the face of that. And I didn't speak so much to your experience, obviously, because I wasn't going to speak for you, but I think it'd be a really great time for women and men and whoever's listening to hear, what did you have? What did have you go from unsure to now feeling excited?
Great question. That was the one in the kitchen, the one that went viral, that video?
Yeah.
You spoke about it then?
Well, I spoke about it in a few, because that one went super viral, and then people wanted to hear more. So I explained the whole story.
Great.
Yeah.
So there were a few things. One of them was, I grew up in a very big family, just for some context, and I have 5 brothers. Yes, 5 brothers. And in my household, there was always just lots of noise, and a big part of me just craved quietness and alone time. So when I finally moved out from my mom's house, it was one of the best feelings ever. And if any of you ever grew up in a very big family and you craved quietness and solitude, and you get that, it's a different feeling. And for me, there was always a part of me that just didn't want kids. I just really didn't want kids. And so it wasn't one moment, there were a few moments. One of them was, there was one day that Kelly came home at like 7 a.m., woke me up, and when I went into her room, there were these 2 cats, right? Oh, yeah. There was these 2 kittens. And initially I was like, we are absolutely not keeping them. Definitely not. I do not want to be cleaning poop. I do not want any hair anywhere. I just want quietness, right? I don't want any responsibility other than you, me, and business right now. Yeah. So I remember there was a time where you went away. I think you're in this place called Uluwatu here in Bali. Yeah. I think it was that night. And I remember I was watching rugby league. I remember I was sitting on the couch watching rugby league, and there were these 2 kittens next to me. And before that, I just used to love being by myself. And I remember just seeing these 2 kittens snuggling up next to me and thinking, I would want, there's no other way that I would want this time there's no other way that I would want this to be, if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely.
Like I really loved their presence, where in the past, I never thought that I would have. And then that was a little moment for me where I started to realize, could there be a possibility that what I really wanted, what I thought I wanted, which is alone time all the time, is there a possibility that there could be another being next to me, or another being that could have my alone time be even better? I don't know if that's a great way of explaining it. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Yeah. That is better than my alone time. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then it's a weird way of thinking about it, but it was the cats were like a little moment for me where I started to realize, wow, okay, maybe I don't want just to be alone. Maybe there's a part of me that loves being responsible for another being. Maybe it's not just about me and having you and trying to build business. Maybe there's another purpose there's a better purpose to everything. So that was one of them. There was another thing that I saw from Jordan Peterson talk about kids. I remember actually where I was upstairs. I don't know if we watched it together. Or maybe it was down here. But I was watching a video from Jordan Peterson talk about having kids, and there was something about that really struck. I don't remember exactly what he said, but the essence of what I got from it was there is so much fulfillment in having kids. There was something that he said, but that's the message that I got from it. And then when you brought it up, I started to get resistant. I started to speak to my friend Alex. Shout out to Alex, one of my best friends. And I just started to speak to him because my biggest fear, I had two big fears, right? One of them was the kids, or a kid I would be second. Like the kid would be number one, and then I would be second, and then we'd lose our connection. And I think that fear just came from seeing a lot of like that happened with a lot of families where the kid would be number one, or the man would be second. Like the woman, again, it makes sense with your growing being inside of you, and then a baby comes out, and there's a different level of connection. I think from between a mum and a baby, and then also a dad. Do you agree?
In the beginning, for sure.
Yeah. So that was an initial fear. And then another one was just losing my freedom around making decisions with, I get to choose. Right now, I get to choose when I sleep. If I want to sleep for 8 hours, I'm going to sleep for 8 hours. However, when there's a baby there's now that freedom is gone. Or if I want to go to the gym, it's like, babe, I'm going to the gym. If I want to go spend time with my friend, like, I just needed to tell you. Now, when there's a kid there's all this different level of organization. So, long story short, that I just had to really ask my friend about this, who also has a kid, and just got his perspective on it. And then I realized that there was a lot of truth to what he was saying, what I was thinking, and at the same time, the benefits of having a kid and what he shared and the level of love that he has for his son outweighs all of the, I only got 4 hours of sleep, or this happened. Like the benefits outweigh what I think are quote unquote the negatives, like sleep that isn't so great. And I think it's the same thing with there are cons of having little kittens. Like there's extra money that we're spending on cat food, and cat litter, sometimes I step on it and it just feels gross. However, right now, if you're watching this on YouTube, like this is so cute. Yeah. And they give us so much love. Yeah. And there are 3 others that we have outside of this room. So all the little, what we could consider cons of having a cat, it outweighs we get way more. I'll speak for myself. I get way more than all the things that sometimes annoys me. Like them all wanting attention all the time.
Yeah. I think Mama knows we're talking about her.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I'm so great.
Yes. So that's my answer.
Yeah. It's been really cool to watch your evolution with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and mine too. I mean, I've grown so much through the process. I think the cats really feel like little angels. Those initial 2 little cats, they weren't these ones. These are ones we've gotten more recently, but I feel like they were really like angels that came into our life to help us see that we did want kids.
For sure.
And is what could be possible, and all the love that we could have, and how to take care of something together.
Yeah.
Having cats has just been such a gift.
So these have been training wheels.
Yeah, I found them on the side of the road just for reference in case anybody doesn't know. But
not these ones if you're watching on YouTube.
No. Well, we did find these.
Oh, wait, yeah, we did. Yeah.
There's a lot of stray cats in Bali, and
so many.
And you've now got 5 of them.
Yeah.
Anyways, I love that answer. Thank you for answering that.
Thank you for whoever asked that. Okay, next question. Next question is, asking this in a respectful way, but are you 100% sure that your current partner is your lifelong partner? Let's both answer this.
The moment of truth.
The moment of truth.
We're also getting married in like a week.
Yeah.
2 weeks.
So it'd probably be a great conversation to have. Right?
Yeah. Let's find out.
Let's find out right here, right now. Are you 100% sure?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, ask me. I am.
Wow.
Guess this is mutual.
I'm glad that it's mutual.
I'm glad. We are sure.
Let's get married.
Yep. Next question. No, I'm 100% sure. There is zero doubt. I think you asked. No, you didn't ask that yesterday, but I just share with you. Wait, do you want to share what happened yesterday? You just asked me.
Oh yeah. Okay, so leading up to the wedding, well, where do I begin with this question? Basically, I just asked, the wedding's coming up, and of course we've talked about this a million times, but more recently, my focus and our focus has really been about the logistics of the wedding and less about the emotional pieces. Although we've gone through many, many conversations about the emotional pieces of the marriage. So I was just checking in with you to see, how are you feeling about it coming up? Are there any fears? Are there any doubts? And what was your answer?
I just said all I feel is excitement. There's zero doubt, zero unsureness. Yeah, zero doubt. And I said to her yesterday that I just feel so excited about getting married, and then we've also made some changes to our wedding that has me feel even more excited. And I also am excited about both of our worlds coming together, like my family and your family meeting. I think it's just going to be a really surreal moment. Yeah. So, yeah, I just feel nothing but excitement. And there's zero doubt that I see you as a life partner. I don't know what the question was around. I don't know if they said current partner or lifelong partner, but there's zero doubt in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel so excited. I feel so in love. I feel so grateful. And I feel so clear. Like, I can't wait to grow old with you. I can't wait to have babies and grandbabies and grow a business and have maybe more cats.
Yeah.
And, I just so see our life together. And there's been so many times I've gotten emotional about it over the last couple weeks in particular, just knowing that this big day is coming up.
Mm-hmm.
Feels really exciting.
Yeah. I really put things into perspective when we watched The Notebook last week, and in the final scene where they're both old, I was just seeing and just imagining us be at that point. And I could only imagine that being with you, it being an old man and an old woman together, and I'd want no one else.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
Love you.
I love you. So that's the answer to the question. Next question.
This one's a simple one, so let's just bang it out, yeah? If every value is aligned except wanting or not wanting kids, should we stop dating? Super simple answer for me, yes. That is too serious of a incompatibility to make it work. What do you think?
Yes, I've seen friends and clients where this has been a perpetual challenge. So in relationships, John Gottman and Julie Gottman speak about this. They speak about the difference between solvable and perpetual problems. Right? Solvable problems speaks for itself. Perpetual problems are things that just keep coming up that might always be there, that probably will always be there. Like, simple one, we give this example of how we have different ideas of a room temperature. I like it really cold. Kelly ideally likes it very warm. So it's a perpetual problem. And at the same time, values, if they're not in alignment, the things that are most important to you, they are perpetual problems that it's not a solvable problem. I'll say that. So when things aren't in alignment, such as important values or a vision, we can think of it like that as well, then that's something that is going to be constantly causing friction, and the relationship could possibly work out meaning doesn't mean it's going to be fulfilling, but you two could still stay together. However, let's say one person is going to lose. It's not going to be a win-win situation. One person is either going to be like, all right, let's just have kids, and then resents the person or resent the kids, or the other person is not going to have kids, but then still maybe secretly, or maybe not so secretly, resent the other person because they're not getting what their heart wants. So you two could still be in a relationship, but the relationship would not be fulfilling. You'd be resenting each other to some extent. So that's our answer.
Yep. Break up. the sooner the better.
Yes.
Don't drag it out.
Yes.
I mean, if we see how like you said, we've seen a couple friends and clients
Yes.
stay together for years and then break up because of this reason. And it's just, like you said, not a solvable problem.
Yeah. Next question. Did you do a specific preparation before meeting your partner, or was it random? Was it random? So I did do a lot of things, and at that point in my life, I was actually calling someone in. Wait, let me go back. At that time, I wasn't in a dedicated time where where I was really looking for a partner at that point. But there were a few things that I did that really supported me. In that, before meeting you, I did a lot of healing work, as you did as well. And also, one thing that I did, there was two things that I really did. One, I was doing this process we call it the abracadabra process, where I was speaking out loud to an imaginary friend at the time and speaking about my future as if it was past tense. So I would imagine that I was talking to this friend about Kelly, who wasn't in my life yet, but I was talking to him about how great the relationship was and how great our intimacy was and how great our communication was, and how, most importantly, I was telling him how I felt and embodying the feeling while I was speaking that out. This is just manifestation 101. And I was also, at that time, speaking about all the things that I got to do for this person to show up in my life. So I was seeing it, I was speaking it, and I was feeling it. So then that way, I was emitting a certain vibration that Kelly showed up. So there was that I did. And then also, right before meeting Kelly, I was at a Tantra event. And at this Tantra event, I did a lot of healing, a lot of letting go, a lot of learning about the tools to get ready for a relationship. Like learning how to communicate, how to set boundaries, how to honor my no, going deeper into shadow work. And then I also did a self-marriage ceremony where, and we do this now at our retreats, but I did a self-marriage ceremony because at the end of the day, I am with myself 24/7. It's the most important relationship that I can have, right? Being with myself and also God. So when I started to really say vows to myself and make a commitment to myself, then literally within 14 hours, I got a DM from Kelly, and the rest is history. Now we're about to get married. Okay, so that's what I did. And what did you do to get ready?
Okay, so what I did to get ready. So I was in the place where I was ready to call in love and partnership before we met. And I was dating intentionally before we met, looking for that. And before I did any of that, though, I really focused in on healing work. That was so important to me, healing from my past, from heartbreaks, from childhood, healing my toxic patterns that also had me attracting crazy toxic relationships. And that was a really deep, big process. I chose to be celibate for 6 months and get some intensive coaching and mentorship to heal some wounds that I had around love and intimacy. It was such a powerful time, really like the deepest healing of my life. And then after that, I really focused on my feminine energy and healing my relationship with men, which was a really cool journey. I mean, it wasn't all in exact order because I did some of that before and after, and it was mixed in, but just to kind of explain it simply, I focused on feminine energy and healing my relationship with men. And then another really important part was learning how to date. So, I had never really dated before. I always kind of just got into situationships, or I'd never just gone out on dates consecutively with someone who wasn't my partner. So,
really?
Yeah, I
never
had.
Wait, you never went on dates with people?
I did, but never like one date. I never consecutively went on normal dates where it was like, let's go to dinner, let's go on a hike. Like, I would usually go on 2 dates. Like, I can think of long-term relationship I had before you, 2 dates, and then we were in a relationship.
Wait, what?
I know, it's so disturbing. Or other ones where we never went on dates and we just ended up in a situationship.
Wow, interesting.
I've definitely said that, but I don't usually explain it in great detail. I didn't know you didn't know that.
No.
Yeah, I was like, I did not know how to date.
Wow, interesting.
So literally someone gave me a roadmap, a sheet of paper with rules and guidelines on how to date, and I was really practicing. So once I came out of my celibacy, I was really practicing dating in this way, where we were just, it's normal dating, but I'd never done it before. And the part of me, because I used to love being in chaotic relationships, like screaming fights, breaking up and getting back together, chaos. And so anyways, there was part of me in the dating process that I was like, this is boring. There's no chaos, there's no sex, there's no intimacy, like the way that I kind of used to jump into the deep end really quickly, whether physically or emotionally or both. So that was a big part of my journey that I really love to teach now. Because there's not really a roadmap to dating now. Everyone's just kind of winging it.
Yeah. And we actually have, for those of you who are interested, we have a program where we teach all of this. Kelly has a whole process where she teaches her dating process, that teaches you how to create your own dating plan. So just go, if you're watching YouTube, you'll see that down below. If you're on the podcast, go to www.mattandkelly.co/frequency of love, and you'll see everything, plus all the amazing success stories of women who have gone into a relationship, who have never dated. Now they're in a relationship because they learned how to date, or they just started dating. They're not in a relationship yet, but they just started dating, or women who are engaged now because they learned a different way to date.
Next question: what to do to let go of resentment with your partner? Okay, so I'll kick this one off.
Great.
Resentment with your partner. The best way to let go of it is oftentimes to talk about it. Now, there is some nuance here, because I would say before talking about it, it is really important to reflect and heal and get outside perspective. But to put it simply, communicate. Put your resentments on the table and let your partner into how you're feeling, or any needs that aren't being met, or desires that you feel aren't being met. Because you can't heal resentment in a relationship on your own. It has to be a two-person experience. And, well, actually, yeah.
It can be.
It can be, actually,
yes.
Because it depends. There's two different types of resentment. There's one resentment that's maybe about what's going on mentally, maybe making up stories, or I would say making up stories, right? And holding on to things internally. You actually can heal that on your own. But then there's a type of resentment that's really about something that's going on in the relationship that needs to be worked through and talked about and found a solution between the two of you.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, I would say what you're speaking to is great. And also, it's a great way to prevent resentment from happening in the first place. Because breakups don't happen magically. They happen because there's a series of events that accumulates that gets to that point. And the first point where it starts at is resistance. And resistance is when a need isn't being met, or there's something that happens that you're unhappy about, but it isn't communicated. And that resistance that shows up in your body through the form of sadness, jealousy, anger, whatever it might be, if that isn't dealt with, then there is a stacking. There's an accumulation of many events that happens over time. And if that resistance isn't dealt with, then what happens is you go into resentment, which is you're at the second stage, right? So the second stage, if that isn't dealt with, that resentment, it just bubbles and sits there and consistently builds and builds and builds, then it goes into the third stage, which is repulsion. Now you're in the relationship, but every little thing that shows up with them, whether the way they blink or laugh or cough or whatever it might be, annoys you. So if that isn't dealt with, by the way, then you break up. However, the fourth R to this is recycle. This is when you go into a new relationship, you go to a new person. However, the pattern within you that co-created the resentment and repulsion in the first place is just recycled into the next relationship. So there's absolute things that you can do within yourself that allows that to not get to that stage, resentment, which is communicating, which is what Kelly is sharing about. We also have something in our Frequency of Love people, for those of you who are single, or we have our relationship check-in masterclass where you you can go through a process with your partner, because it's important to have a container when you're having an important conversation like this, because you can bring the resentment to the table, but it can be from a place of blame, or it can be from a place of self-responsibility. So we have our relationship check-in masterclass that guides you through the whole entire process, that allows you to have these conversations in a structured way. So check that out. We'll leave that down below. And then also around this as well is knowing that when we're in a stage of resentment, our brain will delete, distort, and generalize information. So there's probably been a time where, for those of you listening, you've been through a breakup. And when you're in that breakup, your mind might be deleting all of the terrible things about that person or about the relationship and only focusing on all the amazing memories, right? It's because your brain is deleting all of the things about them that isn't so great and only focusing on the things that are great. So of course you have these feelings of missing them. And it's the same thing when you're in a stage of resentment. Your brain has there's a part of your brain called the reticular activating system that's looking for confirmation bias. So if you're in a stage of resentment and you have an idea, an assumption about who your partner now is, you're only going to see evidence that conforms to that idea about them. And it misses out on all of the amazing things. So what I would also say is, what you can do for yourself is start to look through memories, or start to write down all of your favorite things about your partner, to remember the things that your brain is probably deleting. It's also a great process that you can do together with your partner. Let's look at all the memories. Let's look at all the things that we love about each other, right? While also not bypassing the resentment that's in your body, right? So it's both. It's not either or. So I would also say that those are some things you can do.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, so relationship check-in is a really good process for people in relationship already, but even if you're single, it's a great thing to learn to introduce in your future relationship. And it's something that we've used monthly in our relationship since the beginning. And although we don't always do it every single month, but, you know, especially at the beginning, we really did. And we worked through a lot of stuff through that. And we're really held in having tough conversations. Not that relationship check-in is only tough conversations, because you're also sharing appreciations of things you loved, and it's really important that we balance that. And I think that's also what makes it easier to share the harder things too. So highly recommend everyone be doing relationship check-ins. It's normal that resentments just kind of happen in relationships, or, you know, communication gets misunderstood, or, you know, needs get not met when life gets busy. And so don't just sweep that under the rug, you know. Keep coming to the table with your, you know, keep leaning into your relationship.
Great. Hopefully that helps. All right, next question
is, do you ever second guess your decision to live in Bali? This is a good one. And we've had a lot of conversations and changes around this.
Yes.
So do you want to start it?
Yeah, well, just for context, we've had Bali's changed a lot. I've been here for 6 or 7 years now, and from when I first got here to now, there's been a lot of changes. There's been an influx of people who have moved over here, which is great in many different ways, but with every pro, there's always cons. And the cons are, it's constantly packed, and there's just been some things that has really had me still love the place, but also not love the place, right? What I love about here is just things are so easy. The people, the locals, the friends that we have, how if we want something done, we can just call someone and they're right here to fix something. Like the air conditioner is broke. Within probably an hour or a few hours, we can have someone here, very affordable as well, to just pay for things, and things get done. And there are a lot of cons. So do you want to share?
So yeah, we have been talking about this a lot, like with all the changes in Bali, and also our lives changing so much. We're getting married. We're talking about having babies. You know, we've fully merged our businesses. Like everything's changing in our life right now. And so I think it's really brought up for me, where do we really want to be? And is Bali really the place we want to raise our kids? And so many questions for me. And we talked a ton about that. And basically we got to the decision that we're going to go over to the US and give living over there a try and see if we like it. So we're planning this September to go over to Austin and live there for 6 months and see if we like living there, and decide if we want to stay or if we want to try out somewhere different. But we're just ready for something new.
So we are moving very soon. We got about time you're hearing this podcast, we have about 5 more months here in Bali, and then we're off.
And we're bringing all our cats. Everyone asks that question, but what about the cats? We are bringing 5 cats.
Of course.
To a rental in Austin.
I couldn't imagine just leaving them here.
Oh.
My heart feels heavy just thinking about that. Yeah.
Fully our children.
Yeah, so...
So it's a... Yeah.
That's it.
That's that. I feel really excited about that.
Yes.
How do you feel about that?
About what?
Just going.
Oh, I feel excited. Yeah, I feel really excited.
Yeah, it'll be a fun adventure, I think.
Yeah, I feel there's going to be a lot of upgrades, someone's meowing outside.
Yeah. Another cat wants to be in the video.
Yes. So with that said, we're going to end the podcast here, the YouTube video here. So we really hope that you enjoyed this. Make sure you subscribe. Leave a comment down below. What was the biggest takeaway from this? We would love to hear it. Whether it be down below, and make sure you're following us on Instagram. Again, our handle is right here. So that way you can submit your question when we do this again very soon.
Yes, and subscribe to our YouTube channel because we are going to be posting more YouTube videos and we want you to be around to see them all.
Yes. See you soon.
Bye.